Thank you so much for having me today. I know that, like you said, I know that this is a different experience for you guys. We're having to space out and come to school, and we're not being able to get all the full aspect of everything that we're doing, but I'm glad that we're here today so that we can have a open conversation just about life and what we're experiencing currently in the world today and how we can end up making it a lot better for not only ourselves, but for other people that are around us. So I'm glad that you guys have your teachers have given you the opportunity to come today. Like I said, it looks a little bit different, but we're all going to have a good experience. My topic for today, I want you guys to get the key, unlock the door, and walk through it. Our opportunity today is going to talk about the past, the present, and the future of our history. And we're going to take a kind little walk from things that have gone on in the past, how things are affecting us in the present, and what you and I, can do to make things a lot better, okay? So to start off, we're talking about keys. I do want to get a little bit of participation here. I need someone to tell me the first time or your experience when you received the keys to your new car, okay? Tell me what your thoughts were when you received the keys to your new car. Anybody, raise your hand, just tell me. Mom and Dad got you a new car, you got the keys. How'd you feel?
Well, it was my brother's before me, so it was still like new to me. But whenever I got the keys, I was just like, felt extra like responsibility because I had to keep it safe for my brother and like my parents.
Right, extra responsibility. Okay, that's good. How else did you girls feel? In the back, yeah. What'd you?
Decades ago when I got my first I would say freedom.
Freedom. Now I know you guys feel the freedom when you can just go wherever you want. Well, within reason. You can go wherever you want. You can kind of do what you want. You still have to pay for that gas by yourself probably, but yeah. What were you going to say? You going to say something?
I was just excited.
Excited. Exactly. Pure excitement. Knowing that you have the keys to something that, I mean, you mentioned her brother got the car, but for some people, that's a new experience to be able to get the keys to something and go on to something different in your life. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience with my first car, okay? This was my cute car when I received it, okay? This was a 1995 Mazda Millennium. Have you ever seen one of these? Probably not, because they probably don't have them around anymore. But this is a cute little car that I had. I felt like it was fun. It had a little bit of my personality. It had a cute sunroof, leather seats. I really enjoyed it, okay? So it was just, something that I knew was going to definitely set me apart from a lot of my friends, okay? I didn't get it, mind you, I didn't get it until I was a sophomore in college. How many of you have cars right now and are driving right now? So yeah, I didn't receive the keys to my car until my sophomore year. So I didn't have a lot of the same experiences that my friends did, but I knew that by taking the opportunity to I worked really hard to get this car, got to college. I used something called a refund check to purchase this car. Once you get to college, you may learn about that. Please don't buy a car with that money. I did have extra scholarship money to be able to purchase it, but I got this car and I knew, like they mentioned, I was excited, but I knew that there was gonna be a lot of other responsibilities on me, knowing that I was able to get this car, okay? Responsibilities looked a little bit different. I knew that this was going to not only be big for me, but this was going to be a big experience for the people around me. Growing up and thinking about keys, I didn't have all of the best experiences in my life. I grew up in a not so good town. And so when I was able to, finally get to school, I had to make a name for myself. I lived with my mom and I lived with my younger sister and my older brother. And just that experience itself was just a lot different from the people that I had already seen. So I got to school. Luckily, I was able to get to a good school and was able to thrive and make a name for myself. But pretty much before I got there, I recognized that my experiences and the access that I had in talking about those keys, the access that I had looked a lot different than everyone else's. So when it came down to it and thinking about that, I knew that thinking about my car, if I had the access to get to some of the things in life, I knew that I could do it. If I just simply got the access, I knew that I would create an opportunity not only for my family, but I'd create a better opportunity for the people around me. Seeing that we're still in Black History Month, I do want to take the time to allow us to go back a little bit and let's see what types of experiences or who are the individuals in our lives today, the people of color that have gotten the keys, they've unlocked the doors, and they have, simply just walked through them. So let's go through a little bit. Let's go on a little walk here. Some of the constant themes that you'll hear me talk about, you'll hear me talking about getting the keys, unlocking the doors, and you'll also mention me say walking through them. This is an opportunity for us to, of course, examine the past, the present, and the future. Simple topics of getting new opportunities. As I mentioned my first car when I had it, getting new opportunities, unlocking doors, gaining access to everyone. And then lastly, future, walking through some of those doors and being able to go forward and make change on individuals' lives that are around you. Getting the keys. Thinking of Black History Month, we do have to think about who was the person who kind of thought about this and started all of this. So it's a man named Carter G. Woodson, and he was an American historian. But before then, he was a son of former slaves. And he was an individual who, and going back to his life, he had to work a lot of his life. So he spent all of his time working, but he didn't really necessarily get the opportunity to have a formal education. But when he did get that key, he took advantage of it. So he studied, he taught himself arithmetic and English. And this was an opportunity for him to, also go all the way up, which was probably unheard of during that time for a Black American. And so he ended up getting his doctorate from Harvard University, which was, a very, very good opportunity for him during that time. As he advanced, he kind of started realizing, hey, I know that there are people that look like me that are doing awesome and amazing things. I really don't know why we're not seeing this in the news. Why aren't we seeing this, in our history books? So in 1926, he decided, let's go ahead and figure something out. Let's start celebrating the individuals who are doing amazing things. 1926, he founded the Negro History Week to celebrate the accomplishments and think about all the amazing things that are going on in our world today, things that are happening, things that are being invented. He wanted to make sure that he highlighted those things. And then in 1976, formally, and it was nationally recognized that we have Black History Month. So thinking about that, it took a very long time for this to get in place, but this was just one key that Carter G. Woodson used to be able to unlock a door for a lot of people. He knew that, hey, I know that African Americans, Black Americans do have keys, and they may be, a little bit different than white counterparts, but they should still have the same access. So thinking about Black History Month, we can't think about Black History Month without thinking about some of the things that were invented during this time. So here's some of the common things. So we're talking about keys and opening doors, unlocking them. We got to think about the doorknob. I don't know how many doorknobs you've gone through this today and, all throughout your life, but we walk through a lot of doors. This doorknob was actually invented by a Black American. So O. Dorsey in 1878, I guess just decided one day, hey, I need to get in and out of this door, but I need to make it easy for myself. So created the doorknob. Same thing with the air conditioning unit. I don't know about you, but I don't like insufferable summers. So I like to make sure that I'm cooled down. This unit by Frederick Jones in 1949 made it possible for us to keep cool. I don't know about you, summers, if they're too hot, I can't do it, okay? But yes, these creations, these things, we use them every day, and it's important that we think about these things. Lastly, Lydia Newman in 1898 created the hairbrush. All very simple things that we use in our regular everyday lives, and they're so necessary. But thinking about, those are some common ones, but let's think about some other things. Anybody go fishing? Fishing? Yeah. Auto fishing line, clothes dryer, elevator, fire extinguisher, guitar, golf tee, lawnmower, lock, stove, refrigerator, peanut butter, all the way down to our traffic lights, our thermostats, and another thing, our remote controls. So all of these things were created by individuals of color, and having access to them and knowing who created them definitely makes a difference for all of us. Thinking out the present. Talked a little bit about unlocking some of those. We talked a little bit about the keys, getting access to them. Let's talk about the present. What's going on right now? What are we using to get through to some of these doors? Let's talk a little bit about it. So speaking of unlocking some of our doors, we have some individuals in this decade that have shown us that keys can be granted and that doors can be unlocked for us all, to provide access for us all. Of course, you've seen the majority of some of these people before. Barack Obama, 44th President of the United States, first individual in the White House of color at that high rank. We, of course, have known his story, and it's just a different experience than what we've experienced before. So we definitely think about him. Has anybody heard of the second individual? Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams, she's a voting rights activist. She's from the state of Georgia, and she does a lot of things. But the very key important thing that she did was that she rallied, used some of her keys, her access to help the individuals in Georgia to be able to just change a lot of things down there. When it came to voting, there were a lot of individuals that didn't have that access to be able to, vote, or had the access to vote, but maybe didn't have the means. So her and her team worked together to try to make that a little bit easier for the individuals down in Georgia. Next, Kamala Harris, current Vice President of the United States. Like Barack Obama, definitely an individual who is in a position that we haven't had a female African-American, and she represents other backgrounds as well in the White House. So this is definitely a big thing for us all. When we're talking about access for everyone, these are the people that are paving the way, that are making things happen. Does anyone recognize the last person that's on this slide? Her name is Dr. Kizzy Corbett, and she is an American immunologist. And for those of you who don't know, she is a leader in making one of the two COVID-19 vaccines. So she is from North Carolina, and she has been on the front lines with helping make this vaccine that individuals will be using to kind of slow the spread of this thing. So in taking a look at some of these individuals, it definitely puts a lot of things in context. That not only are individuals getting keys, they're unlocking doors and they're changing things for a lot of people. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that this represents everyone, but this is just a highlight of some people in our present who are unlocking doors for a lot of people. So let's have a little bit of a perspective shift. And maybe we can do some inventory in our own minds. I have to ask you this question. How are we viewing others who simply want access to the same keys and want to have the ability to walk through the same doors as others? I'll ask it again. How are we viewing others who simply want to have access to the same keys and want to have the ability to walk through the same door, unlock the same doors as everyone else? So I will give us a little small opportunity. I do want to have some of you share. And if you can't, most of you can see the picture. Here is individuals at a Black Lives Matter march. And then we have individuals at a women's march. There's some different things that are going on in our world today. I do want to have at least one or two people share. How are we supposed to view that? How are we supposed to interact and act when it comes to these different situations that are going on in our world today? Can anyone respond to this question? How should we be viewing others who want the same keys? Anybody want to take a stab at it? There's no wrong answer. Sure. Can you yell it out for me? Bingo. Reviewing, looking at them respectfully. That's all it is about. We all carry different experiences in our lives, and we come to school coming from a background that may not look like everyone else's in this room. So when we do come into common spaces like these, definitely taking the opportunity to respect how other people come to school. There may be our friends who don't have the same keys as you. They may not be able to unlock some of those doors that you're so easily be able to walk through. So kind of keep that into perspective. Can I have maybe one more person, another person, tell me a little bit about how we should be viewing other people who want these same keys and want to go through these same doors? Sure.
If they're showing like if they're acting out like their problem or whatever, then we should let them be heard and like act on it because there's an obvious problem that needs to be solved.
Right. She made a good point. If they're acting on it or if they're showing signs that there are things that are going on that could potentially be wrong, let's simply hear them out. Let's see what they have to say. And there have been opportunities, as you have seen by these photos that I have here. There have been moments within the past year or two that I'm pretty sure you have seen on the TV. You know that there are opportunities where people want to be heard and people want to express their feelings on how their people, individuals that they represent, are being treated in society. So yes, that's definitely a good point in thinking about, hey, we need to hear people out. And lastly, I'll get you on the end.
I was just gonna say that we should like support them and not try and like put down what they want to say with like other movements.
Exactly. She mentioned a big word, support. We have got to support people, whether they're representing a background that we don't currently represent. Wherever we are, we should be supporting individuals to get the access to the things that they need. They may not have the same keys that we have, but it's up to us to go into those doors if we're able to unlock them and make that a lot better for them. So thank you for sharing that with us. The future. We've talked a little bit about the past. We've talked about the present. Now I want to bring you in a little bit. Let's have a little bit of a chat and talking about what are some of the things that you guys can do as individuals in society to not only if you get your keys, one day you will get your keys and you will walk through some doors, but there also may be some people that you're leaving behind that may not be able to walk through the same doors as you. So as you're unlocking doors and you're walking through them, here are some tips, some things that I want you to remember, that I want you to take away and use this for the rest of your life. And there's a picture of my lovely car again. Some advice that I would give you today. I know this was definitely kind of quick, but some things that I want to give you today and leave you with. As we are getting our keys, we must never be afraid to unlock new doors for ourselves and for others. What do you think that means? Never be afraid to unlock new doors for yourself and for others. It pretty much means as you're unlocking those doors and you have a key, you may not know where it goes, what lock it's supposed to go in, but you're doing your best and you're trying. You're trying it not only for yourself, but for other people. As I mentioned before, I have a younger sibling and an older brother. I was the first one to go off to college. So that experience looked a lot different for me. So I was able to not only go to school, but teach other people, my siblings, and also individuals in my school, in my class, how to also do the same thing. So when it comes down to it, I was a good friend that just helped someone by giving them a ride. I know that there were other people on my college campus that didn't have a car. So I was able to essentially unlock that door, allow someone else to have a very similar experience that I did. Also with that too as well, making sure that the people who may not have access, help them get that access and gain that autonomy to do the very things that they want to do. I have friends who wanted cars, but maybe they just didn't know how to, save the money to get one. Helping a friend out, when it came down to it, helping them getting their finances in order so they could be able to purchase a car in the future. And then lastly, this is a big one. I think that you guys have mentioned it. Speaking up for others and using your voice for the people who may not have one. You have people in this school, people in your communities that will have a different experience. We know that that's clear, that they'll have a different experience than you. But what are you saying? What doors are you unlocking for them? Keep that in mind as you navigate your high school experience. And even when you get out of high school, what will that experience look like for you? And what will it look like for others? As we're given our keys, we must always leave the door unlocked and leave it wide open for others to come through behind us. Why do you think that might be important? Anybody? This is very important because, as we mentioned, there will be, of course, people that will come in behind you or that will want to come in behind you. If the door is already open, then why not make it a lot easier? I've seen some people before get through a space and they shut the door and lock the door behind them, and they don't want anyone else to come through. And that's unfair. If you've been able to get in the door, leave it unlocked. Leave it wide open for someone else to come behind you. You just make it a lot easier for your community by making that an easier experience for the people around you. And I say this because another way that you can do that relates to you guys is just being available to other people, and then also making yourself available if someone has questions, about your experience. Or maybe they have questions about how you got where you got in life. Be open to answering those questions that someone may have. If they're curious about how you got to be a manager at 16 at Chick-fil-A, how'd you do that? What was your experience? If you got accepted into a college that they may want to be accepted into, how did you do that? How did you study? What tactics did you use? Those are some good things that we all have to definitely think about. Lastly, as we mentioned, I did have a younger sibling and an older brother, and setting an example for them meant that I needed to go ahead and, of course, unlock those doors and come on through and show them the way that it was supposed to be done. So I know that you guys, there were some juniors and seniors and even some sophomores and freshmen. You're going to be the individuals who are going to set the examples in your high school. You get to choose what you want that to look like. And especially for my seniors, you're on the cusp between, being a leader here at your school. You're on top, you're the top dog, but you're also going to go out into society. What examples are you setting here that can be able to be reflected out into the real world? So I want you guys to always think about that. And then lastly, as we are given our keys, always, always, always be willing to walk boldly into new doors, into new spaces, into new territories, seeking to make a difference. You never know how your compassion, how your ability to give can help someone else. And especially during the times that we're in right now. I mean, literally holding a door, even just wearing your mask. Be compassionate. There are a lot of people who have a lot of different experiences. So knowing that you can come into a space, of course, unlock a door, you're able to, walk through, and you're able to be that person who is giving. It's okay to share, I promise you. If you have more than enough resources, and that doesn't mean physical resources. If you have more than enough resources, if you have the ability to retain a lot of knowledge and you would be a good tutor, those are the things that you can do to be giving and to be supportive of other people. And then lastly, show compassion. We need more nice people in the world. The times that we're living in right now, it's hard. It's pretty tough. It is a dog-eat-dog world out there. We need more compassionate people. And the cool thing is that these things start right here in high school. So this is a small version of the real world, and you can make change in that. You can have a bigger impact in what this world looks like. So these are some of the things that I definitely want you to be thinking about as you navigate your new world, navigate new experiences in life. This is where it starts, and I hope that you will be able to take a lot from it. As I leave today, I do want to leave you with one quote. It says, "In oneself lies the whole world, and if you know how to look and learn, the door is there, and the key is in your hand. Nobody on earth can give you the key or the door to open except for yourself." So as I leave here today, I do want to, I hope that you were able to take a small piece from this presentation, from this chat today, and I hope that you'll make it your own, that you'll be energized to think about the past, think about the ways that the doors have been, we've gotten keys, and I think you'll think about the present right now, how we're currently unlocking doors, and I hope that you will recognize the future for what it is and how we want to walk through these new doors. So that's my presentation today. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it.